Warning! The following podcast may contain language and subject matter not suitable for all ages or everyone. If you don't like what you're listening to, please press stop. In this episode of the Changwoner Podcast,
I think that a true Korean experience involves visiting the Korean spa or jjimjilbang.
One thing that I'd like to do, I haven't done it lately, is screen golf.
I went to a couple baseball games. The Lotte Giants or the NC Dinos came to Changwon. It's a lot of fun. You know, the crowd gets into it. You know, you start to root for the home team.
The top 5 is going to be the top 5 things you would bring with you if you're deciding to move to Korea or work in Korea for a year, whatever it is. So the top 5 things you bring to Korea.
You're tuned in to the Changwoner, the podcast coming to you from Changwon City, South Korea, with your hosts, Scott, Adam, and Phil.
It's the Changwoner Podcast, the podcast that brings you some of the lives of people living and working here in South Korea, and in Changwon in particular. Once again, I'm Scott, and sitting across from me is Phil. Phil, how's it going?
Hey, how we doing out there?
And sitting beside him is the other host of the show, Adam. How's it going, Adam?
I'm great, and you?
Not too bad. So this week we're going to talk, starting off the show, we're going to talk about some things to do in Korea. So what are some things to do in Korea? It doesn't have to be Changwon in particular, but in general, what are some things that you can do for people listening, thinking about coming to Korea, wondering, what the hell am I going to do when I get there? What are some things? Who wants to start?
I could start. I think that a true Korean experience involves visiting the Korean spa or jjimjilbang. I go to one near my place quite often. It's a good place to relax. They have several different kinds of saunas and just places to kind of lay down and eat some food and relax. So that's good.
What was your first experience with the jjimjilbang?
First one was when my first year here. Someone took me to one, and I just had a really good time. And yeah, evidently that's the same jjimjilbang that I go to nowadays.
Stay true. Stay true to that one.
Yeah. Another one that's pretty essential is if you're in this neck of the woods, if you're in Changwon, more specifically Bukmyeon, which is a village just north of Changwon where I work. There are some hot springs that are really nice. You can take your man or lady there, and you get a nice big room with a kind of like a huge bathtub-like thing in the bathroom, and all the water comes from natural hot springs. In Korean, it's called onsen, but they're also very popular in Japan, and they're known as onsen, so it's slightly different.
There is a difference between like an old school bathhouse and a jjimjilbang. Like when I first came to Korea and went to one, it was just a bathhouse.
Yeah.
It was a little different than they are now.
Yeah, that's true. Bathhouse, they're segregated, so men are with men, women are with women.
Because you're nude.
Yeah, and you're completely nude.
Naked.
You're naked. Thankfully, the jjimjilbang that I go to is a really, really popular one, and it combines both of them. So you can do the jjimjilbang, and then you can go up to the change room, throw off your clothes, and hit the public bath, which is also a really nice way to spend like a Sunday, especially if you've been out imbibing too much alcohol or something like that.
I went to one in Seoul, and I was sleeping on the floor, and I saw a man, what seemed like he was pleasuring himself.
Okay.
And it's a bit hard to fall asleep when some man is using himself as an amusement park.
Okay.
I guess there's some dark sides.
I have no experience with that. But.
What year was it? It might have been me. Maybe not.
That was like 3 years ago now.
Well, the public bath is a little bit strange, maybe your first time as a foreigner, because a lot of people will be looking at you. They'll be curious. They'll be curious about, your foreign body and everything. But after a couple times now, it doesn't faze me at all. I just walk in there like I own the place.
Yeah.
And there's always the drying of the junk.
Yeah, that's true.
With the hairdryer.
Yeah. Some guys will use the blow dryers on their genital hair. And That's kind of amusing, but I tend to avoid those hair dryers after I see them.
people with body ink tattoos, they get more curious.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, in Japan, for a long time, I don't know if they changed this, but you're not allowed to enter a public bath or a hot spring if you have any tattoos, even if it's just a small one. But in Korea, it's generally accepted.
So that's one of your things to do in Korea. How about Phil? What's one of yours?
I think the cornerstone of any good night would have to be going to a barbecue restaurant. Yeah, samgipsal. You go out with a bunch of friends, get some good pork, and you finish it up with soju. And that's the best part of any night is the beginning. It sets you off on the right foot. Everyone's there. Like, it doesn't matter where you are in the night. It's the great equalizer. So going there and you get some maybe banchan, the side dishes. You got kimchi or garlic. Some people like to get some soups with it to pair with it. You know, a good night always starts with barbecue restaurants.
Barbecue, all right. For me, one thing that I like to do, I haven't done it lately, is screen golf. I kind of got into that a few years back. Haven't done it recently, but I always like golf back home, like real golf, and enjoy screen golf again. It's your own little party type thing and your own room type thing that I enjoy in Korea. So
there's minimal walking.
Yeah, there's no walking, some drinking, and hitting some golf balls. Just find it fun.
Yeah, and also they have screen baseball and screen shooting, where you're kind of shooting wild animals, but virtually, obviously. And
that's quite a new thing.
Yeah, that one's new, but I think they're all pretty enjoyable. I actually haven't tried screen golf, but I have done the other two.
Yeah, so screen baseball, they pretty much have a room for almost everything. Mm-hmm. So what's another one of yours, Adam?
Well, I was actually going to just tail on with screen baseball there.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, baseball's, it's a very similar experience. You just get a group of friends together, and you get your own private room, like you said, and get a few bottles of soju, maybe some cans of beer, and you just whack the shit out of some balls. It's pretty fun. It gets really competitive, People are screaming and shouting and laughing. It just makes for a really good night.
Yeah, one of the biggest draws is being able to bring in your own alcohol. So, like, whatever you have to get ready for the night, whether it's soju, beer, makgeolli, whiskey, that's just how you start the day.
I actually don't know if that's allowed or legal anymore, but just let go with us, maybe.
Yeah. It's just a pro tip. Maybe don't,
Well, you could always get around those things, just bring a backpack and then have some plastic cups or something, or some Starbucks cups.
Yeah, maybe a friend is diabetic, so he carries around a backpack constantly.
Yeah.
You can.
All right, and Phil, what's your next one?
Recently, I've been going to the Sakers basketball game, LG Sakers, which is always fun. Like, they always have, a great crowd. They have events during the game where, you can win prizes. We won the last game. We won chicken, and then we also won some bread. You can also, I'm not sure if it's technically legal, but you can bring in drinks. One time, a friend of mine brought in a whole pizza, and during the last game, they did a mannequin challenge, which is quite popular these days. And one of the cheerleaders put her arm around me.
Oh,
and
that's nice.
Yeah, she was very good looking, very nice young lady. And my friend noticed how sweaty I was when she walked away. And yeah, so especially I went to a couple baseball games, the Lotte Giants before the NC Dinos came to Changwon. It's a lot of fun. The crowd gets into it. You start to root for the home team, and
it's weird because I noticed at baseball games the crowd kind of cheer everything.
Yeah,
even though it's a home crowd. Like, I remember the last game I went to, NC Dinos, which is the local baseball team here, one of their players hit into a double play. Mm-hmm. But the crowd were all cheering, even though it was the opposite team.
Oh, really?
It's like they just cheer everything.
It's just, they're just happy to be there.
Yeah.
Away from work.
So another one for me is obviously hiking. I don't do it anymore. Actually, I never really liked it, but a lot of people do it here, and there are some nice places that you can kind of get out of the city.
The fresh air.
Yeah. I don't know how well that is and all, but there's a nice area here, like up in Pyeongsan, like the water reservoir. What's it called?
Reservoir.
Reservoir.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice area up in there. It's got a little publicly over the last few years. Like they built some gazebos and steps and stuff to get in there, so it's more access to families.
What's the drink of choice on a hiking excursion? What should someone bring?
I only drink beer, so it's always beer.
I just recommend a lot of water for on your way up, but once you get to the top, it's nice to have like...
Not the water in the reservoir.
Not the water in the reservoir, but yeah, once you get to the top, it's always nice to maybe sit under a gazebo or something and drink a couple bowls of makgeolli, and then when you're descending the mountain, you actually feel like a little bit lightheaded and you feel really good. Your body's been through a lot, so yeah, it's like the endorphins kick in or something.
I love that word, gazebo.
Mm.
So we got what? We got screen, baseball, golf, hiking,
Jimjilbang,
and
Sakers
game, basketball games.
Yeah, some local sports. You got any more? Maybe one more.
Yeah,
each?
there was one more. It just escaped my mind, but visiting Buddhist temples. There are various ones.
Been on a temple stay?
Well, I've never done the temple stay per se, but it's nice to just go out, even just for a day trip, and just wander around. A lot of them are very different. Different atmosphere, different scenery. There's one in Busan that's really big. It's really popular, but I can't remember the name of it. But especially in fall, like the foliage is just red and bright orange and just gorgeous.
Another great one is late night Norae Bangs. Like whenever everyone's at the bar and they're just right at that right moment, and you just want to go out and sing. You go to a singing room in Norae Bangs and you could just belt out any song. Like it's such a relief. Everyone kind of comes out of their shell. It's like a really good bonding experience when you got 5 or 6 really good people with you, drinking, singing songs.
I always find the acoustics in those places are a little bit strange. Like it sounds very echoey. And I don't know if that's meant...
It's because the mics are on reverb.
Oh,
high.
okay.
You can turn that off.
Natural.
I thought it was just like to disguise someone who's like a terrible singer.
It is.
That's the reasoning.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Anyway, Norae Bangs means singing room, literally.
Quite literally, the singing room. And you guys know how much I love singing, so...
And they're quite popular here.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm not too sure. I guess the last one is like a pension type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like a pension is basically what we call back home like a cabin or a cottage, which you can rent in these more countryside areas here in Korea, like NamHae or Myeryang or somewhere like that.
Mm-hmm.
So just get a group of friends and you can go out there for a weekend and you can have like campfire. I like being out in the outdoors, coming from where I do in Canada, and just enjoy it. Sitting around a campfire all night, drinking and shooting off with friends.
Yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah. Speaking of NamHae and places like that, why don't we talk a little bit about some places to go in Korea, or places you'd recommend seeing in the entire country?
Okay, yeah, that was a good segue because I was going to mention the NamHae and KoJae Islands, both quite nice. NamHae has a temple on a cliff that's gorgeous. I think it's probably the best scenery I've seen in Korea so far. And in KoJae, you can visit a former POW camp from the Korean War. And it has a very interesting history. At one point, the North Korean prisoners captured a U.S. soldier and murdered him. And they tell the whole story about that. So NamHae and KoJae, also, obviously the beaches are quite nice there as well.
I've never been a huge fan of beaches, but one must-see place is...
I've never been a fan of POW camps. We're on the same track.
So we'll just mark that out. One of the best places to see is, of course, JeJu Do. JeJu is just gorgeous. They have one of the biggest mountains in Korea, Halasan. I actually went to Udo, which is right off of JeJu. It's a really small island. You can go there for a day, take a ferry, and you can get you can rent these little like scooters or 3-wheelers and just go around the island in maybe 3 hours, which is very, very awesome.
For those listening, Do means island in Korea. So you heard like JeJu Do or
Udo,
KoJae Do.
Yeah, NamHae Do.
Do means island. So KoJae is pretty much the most southern place in South Korea.
from the peninsula, yeah.
It's actually considered tropical, I believe.
Okay.
Like it's part of the tropic area, which is why the weather is so much different, maybe.
There's a huge foreigner community there as well because there's a lot of shipbuilding companies, so a lot of foreign engineers will move their families there. And so from what I hear, there's some really good drinking spots. And
it's become more popular with teachers, too, I believe.
Yeah.
Like people getting jobs there to teach.
And NamHae has a German village there.
That's right, yeah. I went there, yeah.
During Oktoberfest, there's a really nice festival in NamHae.
Oh, that's cool.
I went there maybe 2 years ago.
When is Oktoberfest? It's not October, is it?
I believe it is October.
Oh, is it October? Okay.
Yeah, maybe. It's not just a clever name.
I thought it was just one of those things.
Might vary from country to country, but yeah, I think it's October.
What's in March?
And for myself, one place that maybe I'd recommend if you haven't been here before is maybe Andong. Andong is kind of like one of the oldest, most traditional villages that still exist. So it's like a whole little town and very old school housing and stuff, like it was, pre-Korean War. And it's kind of weird because you just walk around and there's still old people living in these houses, so they're just looking out the window at you. Mm. But Andong also has the traditional Korean mask festival every year.
That's right, yeah.
With the wooden
mention that, yeah.
Korean mask. And they also have a soju museum.
Oh, really? Okay.
So Andong soju, I think, is, I wouldn't say it's popular. Apparently Koreans don't like it that much. But it's a famous soju here. But they actually have a soju museum in Andong that it's worth checking out.
Yeah, Andong soju is much stronger than regular soju.
Yeah, almost double. I think 30-40% alcohol.
Okay.
Soju's great, price-wise.
Good cleaner, too. Good for cleaning, too.
Yeah.
But so that's 3 places. Any more? You like that?
I was going to mention the fish market. It's called Jagalchi. It's in Busan. It's worth an afternoon just strolling around, seeing all the transactions. They have a lot of tents that sell various seafood dishes. That's where I first tried the live octopus years ago. It's pretty easy to find as well. I'm pretty sure it's on the where is it? Yeah, it's on the subway line. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, Jagalchi.
Yeah.
I don't like fish markets just because I'm allergic to seafood, so not too much into.
Like if you touched fish, would you? Would you
touch my face? Yeah.
No, fish. If you touched a fish.
No, if I touch a fish and touch my face, yeah.
Oh, really?
I get pretty bad. That happens to me with cat food because almost every cat food
has a little bit of tuna
has
or something in
some
it.
Type of seafood in it. So when I get it on my hands and if I rub my eyes or something,
it's on.
It's on.
We were going to throw a fish at you during this podcast, but
I can be around it. Like I'll go to a seafood restaurant if a bunch of people want to go there. Just don't eat.
Just watch us eat.
Yeah. I'll order rice or something.
Delicious.
Any more places?
I mean, of course, you got to visit JinHae.
Where you live.
Yeah, JinHae's my home away from home. There's the Cherry Blossom Festival, which it pretty much happens when spring happens. All the town is just covered in cherry blossoms, and some great places to visit is the Romance Bridge. There was a Korean drama that was filmed around there, and there's a lot of good places you can take photos with your significant other. Also, there's the JinHae Tower, which kind of a hike up. I think there's 365 stairs that you have to go up to, one for each day, and then. My personal favorite is JinHae-ru. It's the road that goes along the coast, and you can get a rental bike if you'd like, and just travel around beautiful JinHae.
Yeah, I went to the Cherry Blossom Festival for the first time last spring, and it was really, really beautiful. And you can take some really good photos at nighttime because they have the lights all lit up. And if you go towards the end, it's pretty nice too because all the petals the flower petals will be showering on the streets. And
get a nice wind blowing through.
Yeah.
It's like snow.
Yeah, it's good.
All right. And for me, I really don't know any more places I would highly recommend. I mean, if you're here for the first time or a tourist, I guess I'd say Itaewon.
Itaewon.
In Seoul. Maybe depends on how long you've been here. If you've been here a while, like say within your first year, like 5 or 6 months, it might be a place you want to check out because of food and stuff like that.
There's a lot of really good foreigner restaurants.
Yeah, there's a lot of different types of people from all around the world that live there and work there, and
especially in
different
Itaewon.
restaurants. And
There's a Taco Bell.
it's a great place for picking up baseball hats and shit like that off, what do they call them, street vendors.
I think I got a belt buckle there once. They're one of those rodeo style belt buckles that I've been told not to wear.
Have any of you been to the DMZ?
Yes. Oh, I've been to the
I
DMZ.
haven't been that, no.
No?
Yeah.
Is it worth?
I would say yes. It's very surreal. Like just walking up there, you know, you have to take a huge bus deep into it, and during the tour they tell you about all of the hidden landmines. There's a village there. The name of the village escapes me, but pretty much they're given like a government subsidy to live there, the villagers, and they can only produce rice, but it's never enough to keep the village afloat. So the government, you know, gives them the money to live there, so they can still have claim to the land. The DMZ is just like you go on tours where you go underground and they show you where where the tunnels were that they caught people trying to sneak in. Some of the worst wine from North Korea, they sell it at gift shops.
Really?
Oh man, it's horrible.
And you can see North Korea from the DMZ, right?
For those listening, DMZ is the De-militarized Zone, which is the border of North Korea and South Korea.
The 38th parallel. Like, they tell you stories about how, like, you'll look out and you'll see across the, a chain link fence, and they just tell you that there's missiles all over, like artillery pointed towards Seoul, and it gives you a really sense of, you know, the war and like what's been going on. Like they haven't brought anything down. Like it's just always at a constant ready, and it just really lets you know like what's been happening these last 60, 70 years.
It's weird because I've been here so long and haven't done that, but I don't really have a drive to do it. I don't know what reasons, but I mean, I've only been to Seoul about 5 times in 16 years. So, but anyway, there's lots of things that you can do in Korea. Lots of things, there are places to see, and lots of things that you can buy in these particular places, whether it's gift shops or Itaewon. You can get a lot of things from back home. But there's probably a lot of things that you'd want to bring to Korea, too. So we're going to get into the Changwoner Top 5 now.
It's the Changwoner Top 5. What's going to make the list this week?
The top 5 is going to be the top 5 things you would bring with you if you're deciding to move to Korea or work in Korea for a year or whatever it is. So the top 5 things you'd bring to Korea.
All right, I'll go through all 5 of mine. Number 1, deodorant. It's kind of hard to find good deodorant in at least in Changwon. I think the German company Nivea has a pretty huge stake in this country, so that's the only one available. And quite frankly, I mean, it might work for some people, but for me, it's like I got to use it twice a day because it's just not potent enough for my stinky pits. Number 2, if you have big feet, bring a couple pairs of shoes because they're pretty hard to find in stores unless you go up to Seoul to Itaewon, and then you can find some big shoe shops. 3, also, if you're a bigger person, it's probably best to bring clothes. Bring a lot of clothes because if you go to a lot of Korean shops, large will probably mean it's actually a medium for you, and extra large will just kind of fit, but just about, just very snugly. 4, this is a personal one for me. Bring some tea, not green tea. I mean, in particular, like English breakfast tea or Earl Grey or something like that. Especially a lot of British people, they tell me they miss particular brands from their home country, whether it be Yorkshire tea or something like that. And 5 is not an item, but I just said you need to bring an open mind with you when you come to Korea. Got to realize it's not the same place as your country, so there might be a lot of things that you are uncomfortable with or that you disagree with, but you need to learn to adapt instead of saying, "Oh, well, they do it like this in my country," because nobody cares. Just be.
I like number 5.
Yeah, just
that's sweet.
Have a good attitude. I mean, you're in another person's country. Just respect the rules.
Actually, yeah, I've got that on my list. So items top 5, we got deodorant, number 1, shoes, clothes, tea, and an open mind.
Yes.
All right, and Phil, what would
You're so wholesome.
what would Phil's top 5 be?
Okay. Number 5, I put an international driving license. Whether you're here for a year or a couple years, it's really nice to be able to go out on your own. You can rent a car. It's not terribly expensive to actually buy a car. I bought my car for maybe $900 cash from teachers leaving. So another thing is a Nalgene bottle. Most people, you need to keep hydrated, and so a lot of places, especially your school you would work at, you would go through bottles of water. You just keep a Nalgene bottle and carry it around every day.
What's an LG bottle?
Big plastic bottle, like heavy duty. I have one in there.
Yeah, it's usually carried by hikers and cyclists and stuff like that.
Like a water bottle?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nalgene is the brand. We're not actually sponsored by Nalgene, but if you ever want to send me free stuff, Nalgene, here's your chance.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. Number 3 would be some kind of spice, like allspice or Old Bay. I like cooking, so...
Old Spice?
You're going back to the deodorant.
Going back to deodorant. No, I'm a big fan of cooking, and some of these spices are really hard to come by. So if you are someone who likes to cook and you're afraid that you can't get this here and you don't want to pay for shipping, go ahead and throw it in your suitcase. Maybe they'll stop you at customs. I'm not sure. Number 2, Benadryl. I get terrible seasonal allergies, and Benadryl has saved my ass so many times. Or I just have trouble going to sleep, just pop in a Benadryl and just let it take me away. And then the number 1 thing I would have to say is a Tide to Go stick. They're like little stain removing pens that everywhere I go to, if we have maybe a lunch or a dinner, there's always some kind of red soup that just always ends up on my white shirts. And I'm not one to walk around with a stain, so I need that clean shirt feel. So I feel like this is a missed opportunity. This market would love these kind of products.
So you went from 5 to 1 there?
Yeah, I went down up.
So the stain removal pen
Is number 1. Yeah.
Benadryl, spice,
Old Bay or
or a water bottle.
Yeah.
And 5th was an international driver's license.
You can get one here, but save yourself the trouble.
See, that's the thing now is a lot of things you can get here now, which wasn't the case when I first came here. But for my top 5, I don't know if I have an order, but number 1 for me was deodorant, so same as Adam. 2 was some over-the-counter meds, like nothing crazy, just maybe cough syrup.
NyQuil.
Yeah, like
Robitussin.
cough syrup is kind of hard to find here.
Yeah.
Like I like Buckley's or something like
Yeah,
that
Buckley's is good.
from back home.
Tastes awful, but it works.
Here, you have a cough, Gichim or whatever they call it here. You have a cough, you don't get cough medicine or cough syrup in particular. Like I like cough syrup. Here you get either a pill or something, and I don't know if it's mental or something, but to me it feels like this is not going to work.
I've gotten cough syrup in the last.
Have you?
Like they come in like little plastic doses, and it's pretty effective.
Cool. There you go. So everything's changing. And again, number 3 for me was sleeping pills.
Yeah.
Not, I don't know what it's like in the States, but in Canada you can buy these certain sleeping pills over the counter. They're really great for the flight over or, flying wherever you got to go. But on a 13-hour flight, they work well. And they can help you with your, what do they call that when you first arrive?
Jet lag?
Jet lag.
Yeah.
They can help because you can't really get sleeping pills of any kind here. I don't recommend sleeping pills. I'm not saying I'm on them or anything like that, and I need them. I'm just saying they can help when you first get here.
Yeah.
But again, maybe that's over-the-counter meds.
That's also why I bring the Benadryl, is because it could be used as a
cologne, possibly.
Yeah. You want to smell nice? Not just deodorant sometimes won't do it.
You can get that here, but it might be hard to find certain colognes if you're in particular about certain things. I also had clothes, which Adam mentioned, but for me in particular, it's boxers or underwear. I'm not a fan of some of the underwear they have here.
It's mostly one size fits all, and it's really clingy.
And there's certain boxers that I like, where here, for whatever reasons in Korea, they call everything panties.
Panties. Do you have a certain type of panties you wear?
I prefer boxers that are not tight, but like
a boxer brief.
Yeah, just above the knee type thing. I don't like briefs or like Fruit of the Loom tighties or
tighty whities,
whatever, the kind. What do they call those that are basically from the crotch up?
Yeah.
The briefs, thongs.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of those, but anyway.
I wear MeUndies. I had them sent to my...
Is that the brand, MeUndies?
Yeah, I had them sent to my dad's house, and then he shipped them out here for me. And they're the best underwear I've ever worn in my whole life.
He showed us earlier. Yeah. They're quite nice.
But so underwear. And last, I had like an open mind too, like Adam mentioned. A little bit maybe differently worded, but considering you mentioned that, I'll say condoms.
Yeah.
They're, depending on who you are, or whether you're like popping in a store and buying them here, they're just convenient to have if you can bring a box with you.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're that lucky, you have to use them.
You can get them pretty much anywhere here. I mean, you can buy them in the corner store, but just a matter of
preference.
Preference, and if you really like popping in a corner store and buying
for her pleasure,
whatever they are, like a two or three pack of Korean brand condom. Mm-hmm. They're right beside the kids' candy or something.
Yeah, that's right. They're right at the cash register.
They're right up at the counter, right beside the chocolate bars or something like that.
Just blowing you up loud. It's just like, hey, what are you doing?
But But anyways, but an open mind is also very important. So we've got each of our top fives. Let's see if we can come up with one single top five. So for me, number one, I had deodorant, and so did Adam. Mm-hmm. You didn't, so... I
put Tide to Go stick.
Two goes one.
Yeah.
So I think one's going to be deodorant.
Okay.
So like deodorant or
antiperspirant.
Yeah. And again, almost all of these things you can find here now, but I still find deodorant or specific brands of deodorant is hard to get.
Yeah.
So I think it deserves number one. So we have...
some of us are stinkier than others.
Deodorant, number one. Number two, Adam, you had shoes, which I kind of agree with. You had Benadryl, which is... like in over-the-counter...
antihistamine. That could be used as a sleep aid.
Or just over-the-counter medicine is what I said. I had that at number two.
Yeah, we can do OTC.
Yeah, I think over-the-counter medicine's pretty good.
Your NyQuils.
Yeah, or your Advils or something like that.
Korean medicine is really great, though. Like I've never had any problems going to the hospital. If whatever the case is, they get me in, they get me out. And with the healthcare these days, I think the last time I was sick, my total bill was $12 US.
Yeah, Korean medicine's pretty good, but you have to get, like, the effective stuff I find comes with a prescription. The stuff at the drugstore is not particularly potent or, enough.
I had clothes, you had clothes, and shoes.
I would put clothes. I mean, there's a lot of things, like being a bigger person, it might be difficult to find.
So we'll say certain clothes in general, like whether it's boxers or shoes.
Especially if you're running a bit big, like coats. Coats can be kind of difficult to find.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like the sizes are different here regarding all types of clothing.
Yeah, for most people from foreign countries, if you're a large, then that's like an extra large. Like if you're a medium in your hometown.
Even more.
Yeah.
Large back home is big or, either decent or a little bit too big for me. Here, a triple X sometimes doesn't fit.
Mm.
So those wide shoulders.
There's quite a difference. So some clothes, but don't be too concerned. You can buy clothes in Korea.
Yeah.
I'm sure most of the clothes are made in Korea. So
the best clothes to buy in Korea are socks, the novelty socks.
Yeah, those are cool.
There was times when you get like Psy from Gangnam Style or... Mm-hmm. All these goofy Pokemon.
What else we got? Phil, you had a water bottle, which I'm not...
You're not too keen on?
Well, you can buy those.
Not the good kind.
What's the good kind, though? I mean, a water bottle is a water bottle.
No, you got to get the hard plastic. It's got like measurements in case you want to make your next mixed drink.
How hard did you look?
Oh, I had to go on the Navy base to get it.
Well, what do you think, Adam? I mean, to me, a water bottle is a water bottle. What else we have? We have international driver's license, tea, condoms, cologne, open mind. I'm down with the open mind.
We'll do open mind.
Like,
I'm open minded.
I always say when you get to Korea and you get off at the airport, leave your logic at the airport and pick it up when you're leaving.
Mm-hmm.
You're not here to change the country. You're not here to say what's right or wrong.
It can be difficult, like if you go with a coworker or a friend, trying to find a good, decent restaurant to eat for dinner, and like, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. Like, well, have you tried it? Like, no, it just doesn't look like it'd be any good. Like, that's why you need the open mind.
Yeah, some picky eaters can be really annoying.
Oh, speaking of over-the-counter medicine, one thing I do recommend, which is big for me, is like Tums or Rolaids or something like that.
Yeah, you cannot get that here.
You can, but it's very expensive.
I've never even seen it.
You can order from the States, and it costs quite a bit.
They have,
but like something like Tums, like if you get any kind of heartburn or anything like that.
Yeah, I've been using Gaviscon, but it's like it's not in a tablet form. It comes in like a plastic thing, and it's a liquid, it's like a suspension. You know.
Oh, you're gonna say something else.
No, and
what do they call?
Gassinex?
No, things you shove up your ass.
Suppository.
Oh yeah, not.
Yeah, you gotta suspend it up there.
You got some heartburn. This up
but
your ass.
that Gaviscon stuff, it's not strong enough. So yeah, I'd recommend taking Tums.
But we'll say that's over the counter.
Yeah,
but definitely Tums. And if you're coming and you want to bring some and you're in the area, I'll definitely buy them off you. But so we got 4. What would you say what can we all agree upon on number 5?
I'd probably say the spices. If you like to cook, it's good to find a lot of.
I don't know about that. I'm not a cooker.
Yeah,
but did you really look in terms of spices?
Yeah. Like you can't get.
I would say that you'd be able to find any spice here.
You can't.
I can literally find anything that you can think of. I can find
like lemon pepper.
Tea, I do like tea, like plain ass gray tea.
But they do have tea.
They do, but apparently Tesco doesn't have it anymore.
No, I don't think they do. They sell like Twinings and stuff like that, but it's the one that comes in like the small tea bags, so you got to use like 2 for 1 cup. It feels like a ripoff.
All right, so we got, what do we have? We got driver's license, we've got tea, we've got condoms, we've got cologne.
Let's do cologne.
What do you want to fight for?
I think they're all
pretty good. They're all admirable.
Why don't we just take all of
driver's license? I mean, I had I've obviously had my Canadian driver's license, and you buy an international driver's license, which I believe was legal when I got here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, I had a car my second year here and just drove everywhere with it.
The driving, the rules have changed a lot.
Yeah. See, I don't know if you have to get a Korean driver's license now, or
I think you can do 1 year with an international license, but if you're planning on staying longer, you'll have to get the Korean license, which isn't difficult depending on where you live. Some states in the U.S. have a thing where you can exchange your driver's license, but I wanted to keep my license, so I just went ahead and got the Korean license.
So we have a different view on driving here, so
yeah.
But what do you think, Adam? Driver's license?
I'm a little bit curious.
Condoms, cologne, tea.
Can we just go back to driver's license for a minute? When you get the Korean driver's license, is the written test in Korean?
No, it's in English.
Oh, it is?
Well, they told me that the video would be in Korean with English subtitles, but there was no subtitles. I took the test and it was in English.
Okay.
It was a computerized test. Had no trouble with the test. Yeah.
So if you have a driver's license and you pay the $18 or whatever for an international driver's license, you don't have to bother with any of this when you get here?
I'm pretty sure the international license, maybe it's 1 or 2 years.
All right, so I would say that's important.
But it would save you a lot of headache than, because I had to go 3 times. There was 3 separate tests, and each time was $20.
So if you want the possibility to drive here,
the freedom,
maybe that's important.
Yeah, that's pretty big.
All right, so we have our final top 5 things to bring to Korea. Number 1 is deodorant. Number 2 is over-the-counter meds like Tums or sleeping pills or cough syrup. Just some general things, obviously, that they would allow to bring into the country type thing.
Don't get in trouble.
Yeah. Number 3, clothes, whether it's boxers or underwear or shoes,
coats,
anything that maybe you might be a little more on the plus side of. We would recommend possibly bringing. I mean, I always bring when I go home, I'd say I bring about 2 years supply of boxers,
undies
with me,
the whites,
undies, even socks. I'm not a fan of the socks here.
They're cute.
I'm usually kind of a plain white, just like a Fruit of the Looms or whatever sock. But here they're way too fashionable. Number 4, we are open mind. Just come here with an open mind. Leave all your logic at the airport. Pick it up when you leave. Things are different. Some things you might think are better wherever you come from, but it doesn't mean it is here. So don't say everything sucks and this is wrong, that is wrong. It's just the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
So come here with an open mind. And the last one was an international driver's license, which all you have to do if you have a driver's license is pay a few more dollars, like at your AAA or CA in Canada or whatever it is. And that'll give you a year's worth of driving here without having to do any other types of tests or anything like that. So that's our top 5 for the week.
Yeah, if we missed anything out there, go ahead and just shoot us some comments.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll edit.
What do you think?
We can edit to our next one.
Yeah. All right, so that's the show for this week. So, Adam, how can people get in touch with you?
I'm Adam at thechangwoner.com. Yeah, that's the email. Facebook, Adam Maxwell Kent, University of Toronto, and Instagram.
Which you finished.
Yeah. And Instagram, Ever Stalwart.
And Phil?
Philip Wayne Stanley on Facebook. What was the...
Your choice, Phil or Philip?
We'll do Philip.
Philip at Changwoner.com.
Philip at Changwoner.com. For you.
And once again, I'm Scott, and you can get a hold of me at anything social media at Changwoner, the website, Changwoner.com, podcast, or Scott at Changwoner.com for email. So that's this week's episode, and we hope you tune in for next week.
Thank you for listening and your support.
10-4, good buddy. Over and out.
Thanks for tuning in to the Changwoner Podcast. Stay tuned for our next episode.